the different parades. It's a tourist destination, which means traffic, but people want to live here. But it's super expensive. And in fact, recently KCRW had a workshop called Priced Out, and it was touching upon the whole housing crisis in Santa Barbara. How people want to live here and they want to be a part of this community, but the young talent are having a hard time affording houses in Santa Barbara. The median home value right now is over $1 million. Things like $1.1 million for an entry-level home, which is like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. On top of that, the rental market is completely saturated with almost 100%, with nearly 100% full. So you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place for the most part. You're either paying high rent or you're having a hard time getting into a house. But we want to kind of help you through the process and be like, it's not as hard as you think it is. There are ways, and we're there to kind of help through the process. One viable option is different areas. We all want to live in Santa Barbara, but if you do a comparable market analysis between other areas that are within driving distance, you can get, your dollar goes a lot longer, a lot farther in, say, Goleta, Carpinteria, or Ventura. But for the intents and purposes of this presentation, I wanted to highlight Goleta because it's only about a 10-minute drive up north. So here's a quick snapshot of the trends for the past 10 years between Goleta and Santa Barbara. What do you guys see here?
A parallel.
A parallel. What else do you notice?
Going up.
They're going up now.
Goleta tracks against Santa Barbara.
What's that?
Goleta tracks against Santa Barbara for the most part.
Yeah, they're parallel. One thing that I've noticed, and Sean and I track on a regular basis, is kind of where we are regarding pre-recession. So in 2006 was essentially the height of the market. And if you notice here, Goleta is still a little bit below the pre-recession value, where Santa Barbara is kind of increasing at a higher rate. So, what does that tell you? Like, where would you want to invest? Who knows? Is Goleta going to catch up in terms of surpassing its pre-recession value or not? But we're always kind of monitoring the market and kind of seeing where things are going. Ventura, on the other hand, is about 85%. So Ventura still has a little ways to go before reaching its 2006 values. And so we wanted to give you a couple snapshots of different housing options between Santa Barbara and Goleta. So this would be an entry-level condo or townhouse. So if you wanted to buy one of these condos or townhouses between Santa Barbara and Goleta, this is kind of what you get. This is a comparable house. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,100 square feet. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet. Santa Barbara versus Goleta. So you can see that you're saving, or you're getting about a $200,000 discount by buying in Goleta. So if that's an option, and you're okay with living about 15 minutes away, that's a viable way of getting into a house for a relatively more affordable way. The other option, the other comparison we like to do is giving you a price point comparison, a price point snapshot. So if you have $800,000 and you want to buy a house, what sort of house would you be able to buy in Santa Barbara versus Goleta? And so basically what it comes down to is you get much more of a house in Goleta. You have a larger lot, more square footage, bigger. Yeah, better shape, everything all around. Here's 800 grand. 800 grand in Goleta can buy you a 4-bed, 2-bath, nearly 1,500 square foot house. When I did the search yesterday for CODA, or for Santa Barbara, this is the only single family residence that's on the market in Santa Barbara that's less than 800 grand. There's plenty of condos, like 15 or so condos that are less than 800 grand, but this is the one, and it's 820 square feet. So if you want to live in a shoebox and you want to live in Santa Barbara, this could be an option for you. So now we wanted to give you like a scenario. So let's say you are like this person, and Sean's going to take it from here.
Thank you, Casey. So, this is one of our buddies, Ryan Goff. He's going to be our example here. This is kind of a profile buyer in the Santa Barbara market here, especially working in companies like LogicMar. That it's a great company, pays employees very well. So, estimated household income 100 to 150,000. Recently hired, employed less than a year. Good documentable income the last 3 years. Can't afford much of a down payment. and is currently renting for $3,000. Of course, everyone's scenarios are going to be different, but this is something that we think is pretty atypical for your first-time buyer in the area.
You say atypical, you mean not typical.
Oh, is that, yeah, typical.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry. Yeah. So, you know, when you're a first-time buyer especially, you're looking at the difference between what is it going to cost me to rent versus what it's going to cost me to own. And it really depends on the property. Again, we're using a typical example of a condo purchase, an entry-level condo purchase, and for this example, it's going to be in Goleta, being that we're using $500,000 as the purchase price. So that being said, a couple things to highlight. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of numbers here, but you're noticing that you're only putting down 5%, which is $25,000. We're using an interest rate of 4.375. Noah from Caliber Home Loans over here, we brought him, we work with him regularly. That's as of yesterday, so rates go up and down consistently, but this is a good example as of yesterday. Who knows, they got up and down today, but they
We're
probably...
kind of flat today, but
All right.
since the election, we've had rates kicking up from where they've been pretty listed and pretty low for the past year or so.
Yeah. So that being said, what I want to highlight is $3,000 a month total rent expenditure with no tax breaks versus your total of $2,547 a month, which is adjusted for your not only the tax break but also principal reduction. When you're buying a house and you're getting a 30-year mortgage, you're putting principal back in your pocket every month. So it's almost like a forced savings account in a way. So we're using these all as examples. We're also taking into account the opportunity cost of the money that you would be putting down. Looking at now, this number should be $25,000. So 3% of that you could potentially be making in a bank. We're adding that in, as well as the HOA dues and maintenance and water. So we're leaving out gas and electric because that's common whether you rent or you own, for the most part.
What's HOA?
Homeowners Association.
Yeah, so for most condos, actually all condos, there's always a homeowners association fee, which is essentially you have to pay it every month, and that goes to help pay for like the ground, like the maintenance of like the hardscaping, the roof, all the exterior. So.
I'm guessing PITI is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance?
Correct. Yeah. So it's your full payment.
I think one of the key takeaways here is that if you look at your monthly payment of $3,000 for renting versus $3,100 if you buy a house for $500,000, when you take into consideration the tax benefit of writing off your interest and then the principal that you pay down, which is basically savings, your net monthly payment is only about $1,884. So that's I think what I think is the key takeaway here.
And also the rent versus own scenario. Noah's brought some great handouts that really expands it over a length of time, and it really just compounds the fact how much more beneficial owning a house is over time, especially, than renting. So we've brought a handful of copies. If we could, get an email, we could email you too, just to kind of save paper. We're trying to be eco and green here. All right, so now that you've seen kind of an idea of the benefit of buying a house versus renting a house, you might be asking yourself, what's the process like? And it is a complicated process when you look at it just from the periphery, but once you dive into it, it's a process that's been safeguarded, and there is an inspection period, and it's something that that Casey and I do every day, and we have a very good county of time frames of making sure your earnest money is safe and the money you put in the deal is safe. So when you start to look for a home, there's two things that you want to do. First is speak with the lender. Noah at Caliber is great. We'll have his information available for you. So you want to know what you can qualify for, what your payment's going to look like, all these things that are important in deciding A, where you want to buy, and for how much you want to buy, and B, to have yourself in a position to be ready when you do find that deal, that you can go ahead and pull the trigger and write an offer. Also, you're going to want to, in the meanwhile, before you start writing offers, talk with obviously with an agent, Casey and I, we're going to bring you through a nice buyer presentation that would be just more of a one-on-one where we get more in-depth into your specific situation and figure out different areas and set you up on what's called an auto feed, where we create a specific map search and you get sent all the inventory as it hits the market. There's some public websites that do an okay job of getting you new listings, etc., but there's nothing better than the direct information from the MLS. It's the most effective, it's the most accurate, and it's the most up-to-date. So assuming all those variables, you found your house. Here's a bit about the escrow process. A lot of buyers oftentimes are scared of the escrow process, and we're here to kind of debunk it. Though it's complicated, it is safe in a lot of ways to write a purchase contract and move forward in escrow, being that you're able to get out and any money you put in escrow, get back, assuming you don't like the house for the condition, for the neighborhood, for whatever you find in the inspection process that is not suitable to you. So all these time frames, Casey, we passed those out actually. I didn't have those passed out.
Let's do it afterwards.
Afterwards, okay. We've got a one sheet of all the different time frames. They're all concurrent time frames here. So this is all happening concurrently as the escrow goes along. So to start off, day 1 through 3, you're going to get the offer accepted. Once you have the offer accepted, you're then going to deposit earnest money into escrow. And it's basically good faith money, saying, yeah, I want to buy your house, here's some money, I'm going to deposit it into escrow. Typically in Santa Barbara, you're looking at a 3% deposit. Depending on the area, that can fluctuate, but generally you're looking at 3%. So if you're buying a $500,000 condo, you're looking at about a $15,000 earnest money deposit check that you're going to get into escrow, which is refundable until you remove your contingencies, and I'll explain how that works in a second. Also, once you get your accepted contract and you've deposited your money into escrow, you want to call your lender immediately. We'll send them the contract, but you want to call them immediately to get them updated on current pay stubs, W-2s, whatever they're asking for, because while you're going through the inspection process of checking the home out, making sure everything's good and negotiating for condition, you're also working with your lender to make sure they have all the paperwork in line that they can submit to the underwriter to then qualify you and approve your loan. Then moving through day 1 through 7, so this is all happening concurrently again. You're going to want to get your home inspector. We've got a bunch of great home inspectors in town here that do a really good job of picking homes apart. I've sold brand new homes before where they find tons of issues. I'm just so impressed with how thorough these home inspectors are. They're trained in it, and usually sellers get a little nervous when you get a home inspection. They go, oh, what are they going to find? But they do a great job of finding out problems with the property. Now, once they've gone through the property, inspected everything from the plumbing to the electrical to the roof to the drainage, all this, they'll make notes as to what they recommend for you to continue further and get a qualified licensed contractor in that specific trade to actually give you real proper information and possibly quotes on what it's going to cost to repair or remedy. They're never going to tell you, yeah, this is a problem, and this is how much it's going to cost you. They're going to say, this is potentially a problem, you should consult with the proper tradesperson. So that's all part of the inspection process that you're doing. And again, if you find anything that's a deal breaker, your earnest money, the $15,000, is totally safe. You simply say, seller, thank you, we're going to back out and move on. Also in that first week period, I always recommend to my clients that we go to either the city or county and look up the property and check out the zoning, permits on file, and whatnot. Really get a good comprehensive look at what the city, how the city views this property. In the city of Santa Barbara, there's what's called the ZIR, the Zoning Inspection Report. That comes with every transaction. But a lot of homes that sell in the county, or that sell, are in the county, which there isn't that process in Safeguard. So that being said, always a good idea to go do that. Casey and I can't go for you, but we can go with you. So it's just one of those things where we go investigate together with all the proper municipalities to learn as much as we possibly can about that property. So moving past then, day 5 through 7, you're going to want to order the appraisal. I like to have my buyers wait until you at least get the home inspection, which is going to cost you about $450, before you actually order the appraisal, which is going to cost you about $500. So you want to make sure there's no deal breakers before you order your appraisal unnecessarily. And you want to order it in a timely fashion because these timeframes move pretty quickly in an escrow. Days 5 through 10, that's when you start reviewing all the paperwork from escrow. They're going to get you lots of reports, in particular natural hazards report if it's in a flood zone, if it's in a fire zone, if it's in a liquefaction. There's a bunch of different zones that properties fall inside Santa Barbara. So it gives you a very in-depth look as to what zones that falls in. Also preliminary title report's going to give you. It's going to talk to you about the chain of title, any liens, arrangements, etc. All things that Casey and I really walk you through so you fully understand what you're buying during the process. And again, what's important with that disclosure process is seller disclosure, probably most importantly. Sellers by law are required to give you a set of disclosures describing the property and what they know about the property. And that can vary from, was there a landslide in the past? Was there a fire that got close? There's just a multitude of things that they're required to tell you. Have there been any leaks? So again, tons of safeguards as far as going through the process to go, hey, buyer, I want you to be fully aware of everything so that you know what you're buying, so there's no question marks after you close the deal and go, hey, what's happening? I didn't know about this. So again, this process has been happening for over 100 years, and this contract's been developed over 100 years. So these processes are built in to safeguard the consumer, the buyer, in the process, and Casey and I do it every day, so we really abide by time frames and make sure the buyer is completely comfortable before moving forward past these time frames. Days 10 through 14 is more or less your time where you're negotiating for condition. So let's say you get your home inspection and it lists all these different items, and there's nothing that you would consider a deal killer on that inspection report, and you get the proper bids from the contractors and understand what these repairs are going to cost. You can do two things: either ask for repairs or ask for a seller credit. So personally, I recommend to my clients that you ask for a seller credit because it's going to go towards your closing costs, and you don't have to worry about the seller trying to just cheap out and fix the plumbing leak really quickly and just put some kind of tape around it. It's just, you can take care of it yourself with as much care as you like for your house, because ultimately you're moving towards it being your house. So I recommend credits, but it does depend on the situation. Every deal is a little bit different. So after all that is been gone through, you crossed all your T's, dot the I's, you know what the property, what the condition is, you've got your disclosures, reviewed all the escrow paperwork, you're getting towards the middle end of the escrow, and the contract calls for you to remove your contingencies. In doing this, you make sure you understand everything. If you have any question marks, we simply ask for an extension from the seller. And 9 out of 10 times the seller's going to grant it, assuming it's a justified request. Like, hey, we're still waiting for a bid from our contractor regarding some site drainage. So as long as you've got as long as you can give them a proper reason, more times than not, you're going to get that extension. So moving towards day 17, you're ready to go. You're ready to remove your contingencies. You're happy with the property. You're excited. You then remove your contingency for the inspection as well as the appraisal on day 17. Again, if you're not ready, you can actually postpone that as needed as the seller cooperates. After that, there's only one more inspection that's left, one more contingency that's left, which is the loan contingency. And the purchase contract gives you 21 days for the loan contingency. So again, that's conversation with your lender. How's my file? Where are we? And what you're looking for on day 21 is, yep, we've got full underwritten loan approval, and we're ready to draw docs. Docs are the loan paperwork that you need to sign in order to get the money and purchase the home. So again, same process as before. If you're not ready, if there's a reason the appraisal hasn't been signed off by the underwriter, if there's any question marks, you simply don't remove that contingency. You explain to the seller why, and then you ask for an extension. It's not until you're fully ready to remove all contingencies that you finally remove your final contingencies. And that is when the $15,000 becomes non-refundable. But again,